sent different prophets to the world for guidance. Okay. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after Rasulullah, he was the seal, he was the last prophet. Now, how will the guidance continue? The guidance would continue with us because we are the middle nation. We are the nation that Allah made to guide the mankind. This is our duty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed it on us. So now, because there are no prophets coming, whose job is it to continue the state of guidance? لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. So previous nation had prophets, and for the coming generation, it's ummatan wasatan. It is the middle nation. Okay, and how another meaning of wasatan is also best nation. So how can our nation, we as a nation become the best nation? Okay, is when we take the deen forward. That is how a nation becomes the best nation. Okay, this ummah, because we're in the middle, in the middle between the teachings of Rasulullah and taking this, we are the medium between the prophets and between the rest of the mankind. And if we do not do this on the day of judgment, the other people who we do not, so for example, we are Muslims, we're believers, our neighbors, our friends who are not Muslims, the people that we know, these people will speak against us on the day of judgment, because our basic responsibility is to take the message forward. But what do we do? What do we say? I'm busy. I cannot come. I have this due. I have that due. Different. I have this responsibility. I have that responsibility. Yes, we have responsibilities, but our basic responsibility is to take the message of Allah forward. And everything else that we do is there to facilitate us. Our education is there, our secular worldly education is there to facilitate us to take the message forward. Our family is there, our family time is there to give us the tranquility, to give us that peace, to give us to satisfy and our emotional feelings. Our friends are there to satisfy that social and emotional feelings, so that we become more stable human being, and the end result is to fulfill our basic responsibility, which is taking this message forward. So again, as believers, each and every one of us, our basic responsibility is to take this message forward. Why did the Bani Israel, as we learned, had the leadership taken away from them? The reason is because they did not do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had assigned them to do, which was to take this message forward, to be guidance for the mankind, whether it's one person or large group, right? For a believer, number does not matter. You have one person around, you take them, you give them the word of Allah, right? No matter how great we become in the world as Muslims, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will take their respect away, because each and every person is busy in their own world. Every person nowadays has an excuse. Okay, we don't have time to do this. I don't have the skill to do this. I don't have the talent to do this. I'm not sure. I'm not emotionally okay. I have this thing. So the thing with us is that we're unable to come out of ourselves and think, what is my real responsibility in the world? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send me to this world? Why am I here in this world, right? This is the core, quote unquote philosophical question that people ask, right? Even the non-Muslims, why am I here in this world? The reason why we're here in this world, because we're ummatan wasatan. We are the middle nation. We are the nation that is there to take the message, to take on the responsibility of taking the message forward to the rest of the mankind. This is each, and even if we stick this thing with us, it will completely change our lifestyle. Everything that everything that becomes a hurdle, we would be able to overcome that if we understand what our real responsibility is. Okay. And if a person forgets their core responsibility, they forget they forget their own being. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and it is very scary, He said, the people who forgot Allah, Allah made them forget themselves. So the one who forgets Allah, the one who comes to this world just for enjoyment and just for fulfilling just their needs, and they wake up in the day and all they think about, what am I going to do today, and what things I have to finish, what things I have to do, and they are not thinking about, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send me to this world? I need to be someone. My clock is ticking. My time is going. I need to be whatever I'm doing, whatever profession I'm in, whatever role I'm in, whether I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm whatever. My role is to take this message forward with everything. And it does not only mean teaching, right? But I need to be a source for people to be guided, for people to take this message forward. And again, guidance is from Allah, but my effort need to be complete and sincere. Okay, if we have to take the word of Allah to each and everyone in this world, this is the reason. This is the reason for our being in this world. For university degrees and a lot of different courses, people spend thousands of dollars. They relocate. People go far. If they get admitted to a particular program, they travel far. Sometimes they relocate, they live on campus, so they go as far as possible, spend hours for deen. If a person has to spend some money or some time, it becomes very difficult. Right? And the Quran is for everyone, for each and every person, regardless of their race. So each one of us need to understand our responsibility. And again, this ayah is very strong. It reminds us the core of our being, the real reason why we are in this world, because we are the middle nation. And Allah subhanahu, the one who does not fulfill their core responsibility. Like, for example, if a mother or father, both parents, they just don't care about the children. They don't take care of them at all. The child is just running here and there. They're not feeding. What they have failed as parents, right? If someone is not fulfilling their basic responsibility, and the basic responsibility of each one of us is to take this. We cannot reiterate this enough. We cannot say this enough, but this is the real reason why we're in this world. Okay. And we ask Allah every time when we're reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, we ask Allah for guidance in Surah Al-Fatiha, but we live a very contradictory life. Right? Guidance only comes when a person, right? So basically what we usually are doing is just pretty much lip service. Like, Salah is just a part, yes, just an inner satisfaction we give to ourselves. Yeah, I'm praying. At least I'm praying. At least I'm doing this. No, we're not doing a favor to anyone. What we are doing, it's what our main goal is, to take this word forward to each and every person. We need to tell people about the deen of Allah. This is our basic responsibility. And if we're not doing that, we could be doing everything in the world and not doing this, then we are basically doing nothing. And we die and we leave from this world with nothing in our hands. Okay? So this work of taking the deen forward is like waking a person up from sleep. Right? Think of people around you. Think of people that you care. If they're not following the commands of Allah, they're sleeping. Right? This ignorance is like a sleep. And when you wake up, and what happens is, what's the hardest task generally in the day? The hardest task, like in the day, is, for example, if someone has to wake up their sibling or someone, waking up someone in the house. that is a very hard task, because people get really upset when we try to wake them up, right? Even though it's so important for them to wake up, they have school, they have work, but they get so annoyed when people disturb them from their sleep. And that's exactly what happens when people try to guide other people. When they try to wake them up from the sleep of ignorance, people will get upset about this. Okay, but if mankind, if a parent is empathetic, if a parent cares about their, your sibling, your brother or sister, they're sleeping, and it's they in 2 hours they had their final exam. What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there and be like, yeah, let them fail? Yeah, we could be you would be a terrible person if you would do something like that. But regardless of how upset you are at your sibling or someone you care about, but if they have something very important, you would wake them up, you would do that, right? So if the mankind is sleeping and it's falling into a deep pit, if it's falling apart, any empathetic person, a believer, they cannot stay still. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as the ayah continues, لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا, so that so that you will be witnesses over people and the messenger will be witness over you. So you will be witness over people, meaning you will say that, oh Allah, I did my part. And Rasulullah sallam will be witness for us on the day of judgment. That he will, oh Allah, these are from my ummah, I vouch for them. These people, they put the effort. And again, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not do it for everyone. The intercession of Rasulullah, his speaking on our behalf, will not be for everyone. It will only be for certain people. The people who were really from the middle nation, who really took his mission forward. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah An-Nisa, فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جِئْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ بِشَهِيدٍ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هؤلاء شَهِيدًا. So how will it be when we bring from every nation a witness, and we bring you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, against these people as a witness? So on the day of judgment, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will bear witness against the previous nations and against the people of his own nation. And who are these people? Who are the people that, this is from Surah An-Nisa, this ayah number 41. And who are these people that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be witnessed against? These people, Allah subhanahu describes these people in Surah Al-Furqan, ayah number 30. وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ, the messenger, he will say, Ya Rabbi, O my Lord, inni qawm ittakhadhu, O my Lord, indeed my people have taken hadha al-Qur'ana mahjura. They have taken this Quran as something abandoned, mahjura, something they didn't care about, something that they needed to be chased up. They didn't wish to learn the Quran. They didn't want to take the time out, put the effort. They thought, this is something I have something more important to do. I have my own things I have these things to do. This is so much more important. Mahjura. And Rasul sallam, these are the words that the messenger will say against those people who took the book of Allah as something that is light, something that is like, any other subject or any other thing, or something that is reserved for a later age. Now I'm young, now I gotta work, now I gotta study, now I gotta do this. So I have too many things, I have too many priorities in my book. This is something I will just are there too many classes going on? There are too many people doing this thing. There's too many. I'll just do it. I'll do it the next week and the week after and the week after. This is again a trick of shaitan, where he causes a person to procrastinate. You miss one class, and then that leads you to miss another class. Now you think, oh, I have missed so many classes. What's the point of going? Okay, so and this is from the history of the Muslims. When you look at this is important. This is the reason why we should study the history of the Muslims. What led to the downfall of the Muslims? The Muslims were not any, a nation that people took lightly. They were not just mere countries, certain countries here and there. They were ruling the world. They were the ruler of the world. They established justice in the world. Now, a lot of the time, people from the Muslim countries are dying to come to the Western countries for a better future. When people from the other countries wish to go to the Muslim countries to seek knowledge, to work, to understand different sciences, what happened, what led to the downfall is whenever the Muslims started living for themselves, they were humiliated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humiliates a person or a nation that forgets him, that leaves the Quran. The Quran is just a book that is lying around, or it's just only a 1 day or 1 hour is reserved. The Quran is a change in lifestyle, but for some people, this is just another thing, something, just for and we need to ask ourselves, we need to be see, a part of changing ourselves is to do self-analysis, to really know ourselves. And recently, like, I came across this quote that the scholars used to say, the more knowledge a person gets, the more flaws they see in themselves. So the most knowledgeable person is the one who is aware of all their flaws, because when you learn, you realize the faults in yourself. So Quran is not just something that you just learn, you just read for a day or for a few hours. It's a change in lifestyle. You change your life, you change your thinking, you change the way when you wake up in the morning, what is your thought process? You look at an incident, what is a thought process? You look at someone being born, what is your thought process? You look at someone's death, what is your thought process? It completely changes your worldview. So whenever, and this is a reason again, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speak about the change of Qibla and then talk about the middle nation? Because why did Allah change the Qibla? Qibla is the center, right? Is the direction. Allah took the leadership away from Bani Israel. So when leadership is taken, it is a kind of humiliation. And then he tells us that we're the middle nation to remind us that Muslims are, Muslims are being tortured because of the because of them giving up the book and thinking that this is something very light. It's not their priority. Life is too busy, too many things in the schedule. Okay, and also Muslims are being tortured because the West is in a misunderstanding about Islam. We say, people, they don't know what real Islam is. Islam has a bad light. Okay, because we have not given them the understanding. We have not shown what true Muslims are. What is Islam? Who is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And what is the Quran? So, but we as Muslims have done, because of our understanding of Deen, because of our lack of understanding of Deen, we have started assimilating and becoming like the other people. So we'll have people who will behave just like a non-Muslim, but they'll have a hijab on. So this is called assimilation, where you start taking on the other the bad qualities of the other side, leaving your own deen. Okay, there is no harm in learning and being a part of a particular country. And it's not just include the clothing, but some parts of the culture, as long as it doesn't come at the compromise of a person's deen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we did not make the Qibla which you used to face, except that we might make evident كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ, and to see which person will follow the Prophet. So the change of Qibla was a test. Who will really follow the Prophet? يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ. And who among these people will turn on their heels, okay, and turn away at the command of Allah. Okay, so the command of the command of Allah is there to check, to also see and differentiate between people. Okay, so the commands of Allah come, it's not there to make people's life difficult. Okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us the difficulty of this world is nothing compared to the difficulty of the hereafter. Okay, and then each one of us, we really need to be cognizant. We really need to think. Self-awareness is a huge part of the Quran. The Quran gives you self-awareness. Each one of us, we need to think, really, what is my priority in life? Am I fulfilling the core responsibility? My core responsibility in this world is to take the message to as many people as possible, to benefit the deen. And this I will do while I'm fulfilling all of the rest of my responsibilities. But unfortunately, what happens is that all other responsibilities, which are there truly to facilitate us to fulfill this major responsibility, but what happens is this major responsibility, it takes a back seat, or sometimes people don't even know if it's their responsibility. Okay, so that takes a back seat, and all other things become our priority. Okay, so وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Allah is not there. Allah will not let go waste of a person's وَإِنْ كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةً إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ. And indeed, it is difficult except for those whom Allah has guided. Yes, accepting commands of Allah is difficult. Initially, it's hard. But the one who truly submits to Allah, for them, the commands of Allah, they become easy. You know, like some people you look at and they be like, oh, it's so easy for them to wear the hijab. You know, it's so easy for them to, or sometimes we might look at and be like, you know what? Their circumstances is easy. It's easy for them to follow the Quran or have that Islamic lifestyle because they come from a religious family, or they have the extra time. You don't know my family background, you don't know my house environment, you know how difficult it is for me. Yes, of course, but you don't know the circumstances of another person too. The one who really wants to be guided, Allah will guide that person. And we see the examples of that in the prophets. Why do we have these different prophets and their lives and their examples? Because that's so that we as humans can relate to them, right? Even in a worst household, a household of a tyrant husband, who was Firaun, the worst man to ever live, from their house came a beautiful woman, beautiful in her character. Best, Allah SWT describes her one of the best women. Okay, Asya alayhi salam. So how was she? So Allah SWT tells us that me and you, we don't have an excuse, because it's said these different examples in front of us where the most difficult household, the most difficult situations people have been through. Prophet ﷺ himself, some people might complain, oh, I don't have this, I don't have a father, I don't have a mother, I don't have this, I don't have the financial resources, I don't have that environment, I don't know. So we see from these lives of these people, didn't have the most ideal thing. But if you set your goal and you really learn and understand what your true responsibility is, then yes, this is difficult, but that person, it will become easy for the one who wants to be guided. Okay, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهَ لَيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. And Allah will not let go waste of your imanakum. Here, iman means one's faith, right? But here, iman means deeds. So which is beautiful, right? Because iman is actually action. And here Allah is saying your actions will not go to waste, meaning some people became worried. Okay, the Qibla changed. What about the salawat, the prayers that I did before the change of Qibla? What about them? Like, will they be accepted? Because now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that, of course, facing the Qibla is the number one reason, number one, it's one of the most important things for the acceptance of Salah. The Salah will not be accepted. But what about the people? So, and you see the Sahabas, they were so worried about their actions. They were so concerned about their actions that their first immediate, of course, they followed the command of Allah, the Qibla changed, and they turned right away. But what about all the prayers that they prayed before the change of the Qibla? So Allah says, Allah will not let that go waste. That whatever the direction they were facing before, those salawat the prayers will be accepted. Inna Allah bin nasi la raufun rahim, and Allah is ever kind and merciful to people. He does not let go of waste of people's actions that are done in with sincerity. So in Surah Al-Baqarah, we see different people are being tested. Right? First, if in the beginning, the story comes of Adam alayhi salam regarding the tree, right? He was being tested, and Shaitan, he was coming from all angles to trap Adam alayhi salam. Then we see the Bani Israel, they were tested by the cow. The cow, they started worshipping, they built a calf in the absence of Musa alayhi salam, and they started worshipping it. Ibrahim alayhi salam was tested. He was given some commands, and what were them? To build the Kaaba. And then us Muslims are being tested, okay? And how are we tested? To show that are we the middle? Am I standing to be a part of the middle nation? Allah says, He created us as a middle nation. We are the middle. We are the middle. We are the center, the medium between the prophets. No prophets are going to come now. We are the middle. We are the medium between the guidance of the prophets and the mankind. We take the teachings of Rasulullah and we take it forward to the rest of the people. This is our true responsibility. And we should not run away from the test, okay? Because we think we're here for entertainment. This world's a joyride. But Allah has created us for a test. And this is the test that we have to fulfill. So each one of us, we need to look into our lifestyle. We really need to examine am I really fulfilling the real goal? Like whatever I'm studying, whatever I'm working, if I'm taking care of the house, is it really happening? Is the goal to take this message forward? Is that my real goal, or that's just a secondary thing? And that should manifest in a person's iman, right? Allah says, imanakum, He's used this word for action. So iman is action. It needs to manifest in the action. Okay? It's just, we need to be the ones who rush towards the book of Allah. We need to be eager. It is for us. It is, in fact, the most important thing that a person should do in their day. That is to learn the book of Allah. But unfortunately, everything else, it becomes more important than learning the book of Allah. And we're being constantly chased, and we should take it as a blessing. There was a time the people would rush to go and learn or rush to perform salawat. Now the masajid are empty. The people, they don't, and even the deen is just like it's just for entertainment. Yeah, we'll go there if there's a gathering, if there's food, if there is some kind of entertainment or community. There's no seriousness when it comes to learning the book of Allah. And this is a very important message and reminder for us, for myself, and everyone that is listening, and everyone. So we need to take this seriously. And a part of being a student of knowledge is that there are certain etiquettes of students of knowledge, which is you have to commit to it. You have to commit, and we should not just be relying solely. And inshallah, soon I will not be doing this online thing. Whoever would like to come in person, if it's one person, two people, That is it. The deen of Allah reaches people. Okay, they don't need to be we need to be taking this seriously. Okay, there is certain etiquettes that need to be followed. You cannot be, if you're learning the Quran, you can't be roaming around and doing the chores of different things, and you need to sit as a student of knowledge with seriousness. It's not just the words, it's not just the Quran, it also includes certain kind of etiquette. You go in your for example, people go in their university lecture hall, they can't be roaming around. They can't be roaming around. What is the professor going to do? The next thing, they're going to kick you out of the class, right? Because even in the worldly setup, there's certain etiquette. You go to work, you need to be dressed in a formal clothing or semi-formal clothing. There is a place and time for everything. A doctor cannot just show up in shorts and be like, they have to be wearing scrubs, right? You cannot do surgery without wearing a mask and gloves. And so everything has, we are so particular about protocol and following the rules and everything. But what happens when it comes to the book of Allah? We're so particular about going to class on time, waking up early. But what happens when coming to the book of learning the Quran? This is the reason the people, the Muslims are being humiliated. And humiliation comes in different ways. It's not just it's the ummah at large, but people in individually are suffering too. We have everything. We have all kinds of comfort. We have money, we have wealth, we have family, we have resources, we have a car, we can travel the world. But people, we're not happy. People are going through meditation and this and that and sort of different things just to feel happy. And we have become a sad nation. And what is the reason? Because we're not the middle nation. We're not becoming the middle nation. Okay, so we really need to take this seriously. We need to, if we make a commitment, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. If you make a commitment, yes, you think through something. If you decide you're going to learn, if you decide, which you should decide, but if you decide you're going to take up whatsoever course, then you stick to it. Then fatawakkal, then you don't give it a second thought. Then you do not move. Once you make a decision that you're going to make this commitment, you have to follow through. And this is your commitment now, not with any person, with any you don't just have to show up. This is not with any human being, not with any organization, not with, this is person's commitment with Allah. And we want to face Allah with satisfaction and not in a state of humiliation, because again, our days are being numbered. Our time in this world is less and very valuable. And each of us have a lot of abilities and skills, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us these ability and skill that we just wasted over, just going to work, this and that, and you're just becoming a part of the herd. No, we are meant to do greater things. And the greatest thing is guidance to waking up people from their ignorance, right? When we become so altruistic, like we become so, someone, you see someone hurt on the road, you see something on fire, immediately, your neighbor's house is on fire, you're going to immediately call 911. You're just going to be like, yeah, let them burn. That's exactly what's happening. It's the fire. Yes, we can't see it, but they're on fire. We can't, it's the fire of the hellfire. And as if we need to be worried first and foremost for our family, our extended family, and of course the people who have right upon us. And most importantly, for us, you cannot educate others if you don't educate yourself. Okay, so I, from today's lesson, really urge you guys to take this seriously. Okay, from seriousness includes, okay, being, if you are able to, you have to make this priority, and you should be able to come in person. Okay, first, number one is that. Okay, and then because that shows that you're committed. Okay, of course, if there's any situation as such we're unable to, that's excused, but this, you need to take this seriously. You need to be sitting, taking notes, making notes, and going over them and understanding them, making changes in your life, and educating the people around yourself. Inshallah, bismillah. All right, so we will end today's lesson here and make sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us to become among people how Allah wants us to be, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes us from the middle, the people who are medium, okay, so that we're guided ourselves and other people are guided through us, so that when we face Prophet ﷺ on the day of judgment, when we meet him, he can vouch for us on the day of judgment. Because again, you have to keep reminding yourself, this life is very, very, very temporary, and the akhirah is permanent. And whether you believe it, or whether you don't believe it, or whether other people around you don't believe it, it's the reality. The reality does not change if others don't believe or you don't believe in it. If there was COVID, if someone didn't wear the mask, yeah, they would be labeled as foolish, right? It didn't. If you just don't believe in something, that does not mean it doesn't exist, right? So we have to be very, very careful about how we prioritize things in our life. Okay, so take time to reflect, okay, in your prayer in today, especially the lesson is new, fresh in your mind, to think really, what is my priority in life? And if something other than this deen is your priority, then you gotta shift the gears. And sometimes you just have to tell yourself. There's no miracle medicine. You just gotta tell. Sometimes the Sahabas used to tell themselves, like, I gotta do this. This has to be this, and everything else, all other things are there that I have to fulfill in the best of manner so that I can fulfill this main goal. Okay, right? Inshallah, we will end here. And really, I encourage that people should be coming in person, okay, on site, and this we will slowly eliminate the option of the online class, inshallah. All right, we will end our class here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
See you guys next week.